I found a positive pregnancy test buried in my bathroom trash can the morning after my New Year's Eve party. The problem isn't just that I didn't take it. The problem is that I had a hysterectomy 3 years ago. I cannot be pregnant. And when I told my husband about it, he didn't look surprised. He looked terrified. The smell of stale champagne and regret is a very specific sensory experience. It was the morning of January 1st. The sun was streaming through the blinds with an aggressive brightness that felt like a personal attack on my headache. My house, usually a sanctuary of beige aesthetics and order, looked like a frat house had exploded inside a crate and barrel. There were red Solo cups crushed into the carpet, a fine dusting of glitter covering every surface from the mantelpiece to the dog, and a half-eaten pizza sitting on the coffee table like a monument to our collective gluttony. I am 28. My husband, Mark, is 30. We threw the party of the year last night. It was supposed to be a celebration of survival. We had made it through a tough year. We had made it through the finalization of my medical debt, the renovation of the kitchen, and the quiet, lingering grief that comes with the holidays when you are a childless couple in a sea of families. I grabbed a heavy-duty trash bag and started the cleanup. Mark was still asleep, snoring with the rhythmic, heavy breathing of a man who had consumed 4 IPAs and 3 shots of tequila in the span of an hour. I didn't mind. I like cleaning. It gives me control. It allows me to erase the chaos and restore the world to rights. I worked my way through the living room, the kitchen, and finally the downstairs powder room. That one was easy, just paper towels and empty toilet rolls. But then I went upstairs. We have a rule during parties. The upstairs bathroom, the master bath, is VIP only. It's for family and close friends who don't want to wait in line with the guys from Mark's fantasy football league who aim poorly. I walked into the master bath. It wasn't too bad. A few makeup wipes on the counter, a stray bobby pin. I opened the pedal bin to empty it. It was mostly full of tissues and cotton rounds. I pulled the small bag out, and as I went to tie it, something heavy shifted at the bottom. It clunked against the porcelain tile as I set the bag down. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. It's a survival instinct that sometimes leads you straight into the fire. I untied the bag. I reached past the makeup wipes. Buried at the very bottom, wrapped carefully inside a wad of toilet paper like a secret mummy, was a plastic stick. I unwrapped it. It was a clear blue pregnancy test. The digital screen was blank. The battery had probably died overnight, but the 2 blue lines in the analog window were unmistakable. Positive. I sat down on the cold tile floor. The room spun. For a second, my brain short-circuited. I touched my own stomach reflexively. Phantom limb syndrome, but for a uterus. I had a hysterectomy 3 years ago after a battle with endometriosis that nearly killed me. It was the defining tragedy of my 20s. Mark and I had cried for months. We had mourned the children we would never have. So this wasn't mine. I stared at the stick. Who had used this bathroom? I replayed the night in my head. The party had been packed, maybe 50 people. But the upstairs was roped off. I stood guard like a hawk for most of the night because I didn't want strangers snooping in my bedroom. I only let 3 women up here. First was Mia. She is 19, my younger brother's new girlfriend. She's sweet, a little naive, studying art history. She had come up to fix her eyeliner around 9 p.m. because she cried after my brother made a joke she didn't get. Second was Jessica, my older sister. She is 32, single, and currently in her chaos era. She dates drummers and bartenders, drinks too much wine, and calls me at 2 a.m. to complain about men. She had used the bathroom around 10:30 p.m. Third was Alina, my best friend, my ride or die. Alina is 28 just like me. We have been inseparable since college. She's the one who held my hand before my surgery. She's the one who sat with me when I woke up and told me I was still a whole woman without a womb. Alina is famously, vocally child-free by choice. She hates kids. She calls them crotch goblins. She and her husband, Dave, throw no baby showers every year to celebrate their disposable income. Dave had a vasectomy 2 years ago. I remember because I drove him to the appointment. Alina had come up at 11:40 p.m. just before the countdown. She said she felt nauseous from the crab dip. Mia, Jessica, Alina. One of them was pregnant. One of them had taken a test in the middle of a New Year's Eve party, panicked, wrapped it up, and buried it in my trash. My mind raced. If it was Mia, my brother was about to be a father at 20. That was a crisis, but a manageable one. If it was Jessica, it was another chapter in her messy life, but she would handle it. If it was Alina, well, that was impossible. Dave shoots blanks, unless the vasectomy failed, or unless Alina was stepping out on Dave. I stood up. I washed my hands 3 times, scrubbing them until they were red. I took the test and wrapped it back up in the toilet paper. I didn't throw it away. I put it in my vanity drawer under my hairdryer. It was evidence. I just didn't know of what crime yet. I went downstairs. Mark was awake making coffee. He looked rough. "Happy New Year, babe," he croaked, leaning in to kiss my cheek. "You're up early, you're a machine." "Couldn't sleep," I said. I watched him. He looked normal. He looked like the man I loved. He poured a cup of coffee and winced at the light. "Great party, though," he said. "Everyone had a blast." "Yeah," I said, "a blast." I needed to know. I couldn't just ask them. If I sent a group text saying, "Who left a positive pregnancy test in my trash?" the culprit would lie. They hid it for a reason. They wanted it secret. I needed to be smarter. I needed to trap them. "I'm making a brunch," I announced suddenly. Mark looked at me like I had grown a second head. "What? We have leftovers for days. Pizza, wings." "No," I said, my voice manic. "I want a proper New Year's Day brunch. Hair of the dog, mimosas, quiche. I'm inviting the girls." The girls? Mia, Jessica, and Alina. They were the last ones here. We should debrief the party. Mark shrugged. "Okay, do I have to be there? Dave invited me to watch the Rose Bowl." "No," I said. "Go to Dave's, girl time." Perfect. If Dave was with Mark, Alina would be alone. I sent the texts. "Me, emergency leftovers brunch. I have too much champagne and I need help eating this quiche. Come over at 12 p.m. PJs encouraged." Mia replied instantly. "I'm there, starving." Jessica replied 10 minutes later. "Ugh, my head. Yes, I need a mimosa IV." Alina replied, "Sure thing, be there soon." Now I waited. The trap was set. The brunch spread was impressive, considering I was operating on 3 hours of sleep and a fueling sense of dread. I made a spinach and feta quiche. I put out a fruit platter, but the centerpiece was the mimosa station. 3 bottles of chilled Prosecco, a pitcher of fresh orange juice, and 4 crystal flutes. Alcohol, the ultimate truth serum for a pregnancy. At 12 p.m. sharp, the doorbell rang. It was Mia. She looked fresh-faced and annoying youthful, wearing a fuzzy pink tracksuit. "Happy New Year," she squealed, hugging me. "Last night was so fun. Your brother is still sleeping, the lazy bum." "Come in, grab a drink," I said, gesturing to the bar. Mia didn't hesitate. She poured herself a glass, heavy on the champagne, light on the juice. She took a massive gulp. "Oh my God, I needed that." Okay, Mia not pregnant or reckless, but likely not pregnant. Jessica arrived next. She looked like a train wreck. Sunglasses indoors, hair in a messy bun that wasn't a style choice but a necessity. "Coffee," she groaned, "then alcohol." I handed her a mug. She downed it, then walked to the mimosa bar. She poured a glass of straight Prosecco. "Cheers to another year of being single," she saluted, and drank half the glass in one swallow. Jessica, not pregnant. That left Alina. My best friend walked in at 12:15 p.m. She looked put together, too put together. She was wearing jeans and a nice sweater, her hair blow-dried. She didn't look hungover. She looked anxious. "Hey," she said, her voice a little too high. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was weird." "It's New Year's Day. There is no traffic," I said, handing her a plate. "Grab a drink." I watched her. I watched her like a hawk circling a field mouse. Alina walked to the table. She picked up a glass. She reached for the orange juice. She poured a glass of just juice. "No champagne?" Jessica asked, burping slightly. "It's the rules." I'm doing dry January," Alina said quickly. "Starting today, detox, you know." Since when? I asked. You were doing tequila shots with me at 10 p.m. last night. Exactly, Alina laughed, but her eyes didn't smile. That's why I overdid it. My stomach is a wreck, just juice for me. Dry January, the classic cover. I let the brunch play out. We talked about resolutions. Mia wants to get a 4 GPA. Jessica wants to stop dating musicians. Alina said she wants to focus on home renovations. At 1:30 p.m., Mia and Jessica left to go meet up with my brother. Alina stayed behind to help me clean up. This was it. I waited until we were in the kitchen, the dishwasher humming. Alina, I said. She turned, holding a stack of plates. Yeah. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the pregnancy test. I hadn't put it in a bag. I just held the stick. You left this in the upstairs bathroom. The plate in her hand slipped. She caught it against her hip, fumbling, her reflexes saving it from shattering, but just barely. Her face drained of color. She went from rosy to sheet white in a heartbeat. What is that? She stammered. It's a positive pregnancy test, I said. Mia drank 3 mimosas. Jessica drank a bottle of wine. You are drinking orange juice and doing dry January. Drop the act. Alina stared at the test. Then she crumpled. She sat down on the floor, right there in my kitchen, and put her head in her hands. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I was so scared. I took it last night because I was late and I needed to know before the year started. You're pregnant, I asked, sitting down next to her. But Dave, the vasectomy. It wasn't Dave, she whispered. My heart broke for her, my best friend, my sister in spirit. Alina, did you cheat? She nodded, tears streaming down her face. It was a mistake, a drunken, stupid mistake last month. I was at a conference in Dallas. I met a guy at the hotel bar. I was lonely, Dave, and I have been fighting, and it happened. One night, I didn't even get his number. And now. She gestured to her stomach. Does Dave know? No, God, no. He'll kill me. He'll leave me. Sarah, please, you can't tell him. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to the clinic next week. I just need time. I hugged her. I held her while she cried. I told her I wouldn't say a word. I told her I would support her. I felt a pang of jealousy, deep, ugly jealousy, that she could get pregnant by accident with a stranger while I had spent thousands trying to conceive with my husband, but I pushed it down. She was my best friend. She was in trouble. She left an hour later, looking exhausted, but relieved that she had shared the burden. I spent the afternoon watching TV, waiting for Mark to come home from Dave's. I felt heavy with the secret. I hate keeping secrets from Mark. We tell each other everything. Or we used to. Mark came home at 6 p.m. He smelled like beer and wings. He looked happy. Dave says hi, he said, flopping onto the couch. Good game, Michigan won. That's nice, I said. How was brunch? Did the girls survive? I looked at him. I couldn't hold it in. It was too big. And honestly, it wasn't my secret to keep from him. He was my husband. He wasn't going to tell Dave. It was intense, I said. Mark, you aren't going to believe this, but you have to swear on your life you won't tell Dave. Mark froze. He sat up a little straighter. What? What happened? Alina is pregnant. Mark didn't say what. He didn't say how. He didn't say, but Dave had a vasectomy. He went pale. The blood drained out of his face faster than it had from Alina's. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He looked terrified. Pregnant, he squeaked. His voice was an octave too high. Yes, she took a test in our bathroom last night. I found it. Mark stood up. He started packing. He ran a hand through his hair. He looked like he was about to be sick. Did she say who? Who what? Who the father is, did she say? She said it was a one-night stand. A guy in Dallas. Mark stopped packing. He let out a breath. Oh, Dallas, right, yeah, that makes sense. But he was sweating. I could see the sheen on his forehead, and his hands were trembling. Mark, I said slowly, why are you so freaked out? I'm not, he snapped. I'm just shocked. Poor Dave. Does Dave know? No, she's going to handle it. Right, handle it. Good, that's for the best. He walked into the kitchen. I need a water. I sat on the couch. My brain was humming. Why was he so scared? Why was his first question, did she say who, instead of how is she? And then it hit me, the connection. The renovations. For the last 3 months, Mark has been going over to Alina and Dave's house every Saturday. Helping Dave with the basement, he said. Dave isn't handy, he said. I'm just being a good friend. But Dave plays golf on Saturdays. Mark told me Dave was there supervising. I pulled out my phone. I opened our text thread. Me not 15. When will you be home? Mark, late, the drywall is tricky. Alina ordered pizza. Alina ordered pizza, not Dave. I stood up. I walked to the kitchen. Mark was chugging water at the sink. Mark, I said, where were you on November 15th? He choked. He coughed, water spraying into the sink. What, why? You were at Alina's, fixing the drywall. Yeah, so. Was Dave there? Yes, of course Dave was there. I'm going to call Dave, I said, reaching for my phone. I'm going to ask him how his golf game was on November 15th. Mark lunged. He grabbed my wrist. His grip was tight, too tight. Don't, he whispered. Sarah, don't call him. I looked at him. I looked at the man who held my hand while I cried after my hysterectomy. The man who promised to love me through the pain of our infertility. It's yours, I said. It wasn't a question. He dropped my hand. He slumped against the counter. He started to cry, not noble tears, pathetic, sniveling tears. I didn't mean for it to happen, he sobbed. We were spending so much time together. She was lonely. You were. You've been so distant since the surgery, Sarah. You're always sad. Alina was. Fun. Fun. My best friend was fun. I couldn't give him a child, so he made one with my best friend. I didn't scream. I felt cold. I felt like ice. Get out, I said. Sarah, please. She's getting rid of it. It will be like it never happened. Get out. He ran to the bedroom, grabbed a bag, and left. He probably went to her. I was alone in the house, but I wasn't done. I needed to be sure. I needed to see it. I went to my computer. I opened the security camera app. We have cameras inside the house, in the living room, in the hallway upstairs. We installed them when we did the renovation to watch the contractors. I scrolled back to last night, New Year's Eve. Timestamp 11:40 p.m. Alina walks down the hallway. She goes into the bathroom. Timestamp 11:45 p.m. Mark appears. He walks down the hall. He stops at the bathroom door. He doesn't knock. He leans in close to the crack of the door. I turned the volume up. Mark whispering, Elle, you okay? Alina muffled. It's positive, Mark, I'm pregnant. Mark, shit, okay, don't panic, we'll figure this out, just hide it. Don't let Sarah see I love you. Alina, I love you too. He loved her. I saved the clip. Then I picked up my phone. I didn't call a lawyer, not yet. I called Dave. Hey, Sarah, Dave answered. Mark just left, did he forget something? No, Dave, I need you to come over, right now, just you. Is everything okay? No, it's about Alina. Dave was there in 10 minutes. He sat on my couch, looking confused. I didn't say a word. I just handed him the iPad and played the clip. I watched his face as he listened to his wife tell my husband she loved him. I watched him listen to the news that she was pregnant with a child that wasn't his. Dave stood up. He was a quiet man, usually, but in that moment he looked dangerous. Where are they? He asked. I kicked Mark out. I assume he went to your place or she came to pick him up. She's at home, Dave said. She said she was taking a nap. Let's go, I said. We drove to Dave's house. My car following his, we walked in. Mark and Alina were in the kitchen, sitting at the table, holding hands. They looked up, terrified, as we walked in. Dave, Alina started. Sarah. We know, Dave said. His voice was dead. We saw the video. We know about the baby. Alina looked at me. You promised you wouldn't tell. I promised I wouldn't tell Dave about a stranger, I said. I didn't promise to protect my husband's mistress. The fallout was nuclear. Dave kicked Alina out that night. He froze the joint accounts the next morning. Since Alina works part-time as a yoga instructor and Dave is a finance executive, she has nothing. No house, no money. I filed for divorce the same day. I sent the video to Mark's parents. They are devout Catholics. They have disowned him. Mark and Alina are currently living in a studio apartment on the bad side of town. Mark lost his job because, ironically, he works for Dave's brother-in-law. Last I heard, they are keeping the baby. They have to. It's the only thing they have left. I'm sitting in my clean, quiet house. It's lonely, yes, but it's peaceful. I couldn't give him a child, so he made one with my best friend. Now they can raise it in a studio apartment together, while I find someone who understands that love isn't about what your body can provide, but what your heart can endure.
If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.